Hi guys, going to do a quick video about Output 6, the photorealistic images. So in Edmodo I have this kind of requirements or guidelines for Output 6. It just talks about a few of the things that you need. Basically it's going to be one A3 PowerPoint slide, and you're going to have a collage of pictures, different types of views, like your obviously your full assembly. You might have an exploded view. You don't have to, but you might have an exploded view. You might do views of individual parts or zoomed in, really close detailed views. Basically what you're doing is you're fully describing the object from different angles, and just you're showing the viewer different aspects of it. It has to be obviously neat and tidy, and once again no negative space. Try to use as much as possible. We can add surfaces like a table or a metal surface or a plastic surface or anything you want. We can add that in to your assemblies to show photorealistic realness, I guess, or to increase the realness. We can mess with the lighting to kind of capture, certain curvatures of the objects, make the light shine on it a bit better. We can apply different scenes to kind of get a nice background rather than a bland grey background. You can even use the augmented reality thing that I showed you, that you can do with your phone or a tablet. That takes a picture of the object, and you cut out the little you print out a little marker and cut it out, put it on the table, and it basically takes your model and puts it into a real-time photograph. It's just a nice little touch you can have. Once again, we have the DCG video, and here's the marking scheme. So it's only worth 4%, so it's not a huge amount of marks, so I wouldn't be spending a huge amount of time on it. Just some examples. Here's one that I done a couple of years ago for the Blender. I'm going to show you how to do this one here, where you have a blender in an environment. I'm going to show you how to get a kind of a picture in and get it kind of looking like it's kind of sitting there in an environment. How to kind of, obviously we need to label our pictures and stuff like that as well when you put them into your PowerPoint slide. Here's another example of a student student photorealistic image, where he's taken it as a main pictorial and he's split it up into individual parts and stuff like that, which I think is good. Another thing I'm going to show you how to do, well no, I showed you already how to put in a wooden table, but here's an example of what I done last year. I've taken some really good photorealistic images. Now this wouldn't be the layout of an Output 6 really, but it was just actual good photographs that I was able to get, not photographs, photorealistic images. And here I have it compared with an actual photograph of a mouse. So if you had an actual photograph of your object, you could put it in as a comparison with your photorealistic images. So what I'll do here is I'll just show you with this here. In a previous video I showed you how to do the exploded view. So in your configurations there, you should have your exploded view. You can right click on it to explode, and you can right click on it to collapse it, and that might be one of your photorealistic images. You might have your 3D pictorial, and you might also have a photorealistic image there as well. So a couple of things that I'll do to this. Let me see, we'll mess around with what's called a scene. So a scene is basically kind of like an environment that it's in. So if you go into your panel at the side there, go into scenes as opposed to materials or appearances. I'm in basic scenes here, and there's one that I like called warm kitchen, so I'll double click on it. You can see the background kind of changes there. So obviously when you're doing a photorealistic image, you get the kind of the angle that you want. So let's say I'm happy enough with that. SolidWorks add-ins, render tools, and now you have a choice here. You can do a preview window snapshot of it, or you can do a full final render. Either way, what I'd recommend is that both of these are set to maximum. It'll get you the maximum kind of quality picture. Your actual image width and image height, 640 by 80. You're going to have lots of smaller kind of images put onto one PowerPoint slide, so I wouldn't really worry about going into huge kind of numbers for the width and the height of it. I'll just leave it at that there. So my preview render, I'm going to go with best. Okay, so green tick. So I'll go to preview window. Always turn on perspective, and I'm going to give it a second to load up, which it always does. So I'm just going to roughly go through this real quick. I'm going to get a a PowerPoint file there, new slide. So let's imagine that that's my PowerPoint slide. You're going to have your heading. I'm just going to rob this here, Control C. By the way, this is going to be on, this is like a step-by-step guide how to do a quick photorealistic image. That's on Edmodo as well. Just call it Output 6. It's called photorealistic, what's the actual name of it? Photorealistic representation, I think, whatever. Okay, I'll put that in there. I'll go to my Photo View 360. Now you can see it's rendering away there. Okay, down at the bottom it says 50%. So that's going to take a while to do. So what I'll probably do here is just to kind of speed up matters, I will just take my I'm going to come back to the propeller one later actually, so don't worry about that for now. I'm having trouble getting back to my, there it is there. Now I have a few things open here at the same time, so it might run a bit slow. In my options, just to speed things up, I'm going to set the render, the preview window to, we'll just say good, okay, to speed it up. So I'd advise you to do the full render, which you can see there, even as it's coming together, it's on at 50%. When that gets to 100, it'll look decent. Even the glass beaker on it there, the way it's kind of see-through and transparent, I think is really good. Now this is probably going to take a while to do because it has a lot of little detail. This grip thing here, photorealistic images, when you have see-through transparent plastic, it can struggle. It can take a while to do. Okay, but I don't think you'll have a problem with your drone and stuff like that. So when you're happy enough with the image, let's say I'm happy with that there. It's not great quality because, as I said, I set it to just good instead of best or maximum. Save the image. Do not save it as a PNG. It's automatically set to a PNG. Save it as a JPEG. So I'm going to save it on the desktop. I'm just going to call it R1, render 1. These files don't have to be included in your folders at the end. This will be, all these images will just be put into one PowerPoint slide. So I'm just going to save that there. So if I go into my slideshow, now I'm dragging from my other screen. I'm dragging my image in, or you can just copy and paste it in. Now obviously there's a lot of wasted space here, so what I'm going to do is crop the image down, drag in these here to the size that I want it. Okay, so I'm roughly happy with that, and what I'll do here is I'll just go with a kind of a soft edge image, soft edge rectangle there to kind of present it a bit well. So there's one image done, and what's a good idea to do is kind of label what each image represents. So I'm putting in a text box there, and I'll just call it isometric view. And what I'll do here is I'm going to select the text box, hold Control, select the picture. I'm going to group the two of them together so that the two of them are basically one item that I can move around. Okay, so there's one view done. You might do your exploded view. So what I'll do here is I'll go into the SolidWorks for it, and I will turn my exploded view and configurations back on. It's just getting a bit slow there. Now I might take a different angle of it. Maybe from the other side. Doesn't really matter. Go to my photorealistic image like that. Let it get to 100%. So it's not going to look too good, as I said, because it's set, the quality is set to good rather than maximum. Let's say I'm happy with that there. Save preview image. So I'm going to call it R2. Change it from a PNG to a JPEG. Otherwise it cuts out this nice kind of warm background. Back into my PowerPoint, I'm going to drag it in, or you can copy and paste it in. Same again. Trim off the bits you don't need. I'm going to take that text box, Control C, Control V, bring that there, and I'm just going to call that, I could call it isometric exploded view or just exploded view. Hold Control for the both of them, right click, group together, give this a soft edge image, or soft outline, whatever it is there, like so. So exploded view. Okay, so I'm going to show you about the one that I had that has this kind of kitchen background on it. How I got that, but basically I done a Google search for a kitchen. Let's see if I can even find the actual image. I probably won't be able to find it now because it was 2 years ago when I'd done it. Just let me open a window here, an internet window. So if I go back to my image here, I'm going to go in to the globe here, into the scene, and I think I can right click on it and go edit scene. And the image I want would be, I'm going to browse for it, but what I'll do first is I'm just going to find a kitchen, see if I can find a kitchen scene. That one there might be nice, and it's a good resolution as well, so if you look at it, it's 1600 by 1000. That could be that's good, so I'm going to take that. This might work or might not work. I will save it. Maybe not that one. Maybe this one here, 300 by 200. Okay, it's a very small resolution. I'm not going to go with that. What's this one? This could be a good one here, although the foreground is kind of blurred, I think, so that mightn't be suitable. It mightn't look right. Picture hasn't fully loaded yet. I'm probably going to not use this one. That picture's not loading. It's quite a high resolution. So basically I need something with a kitchen top. I'll try this one. Right, I'm going to go with this one, okay. So save image as, I'm just going to call it kitchen. Save it on my desktop. Now this has to be saved in your folder as well, with all your assembly and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to go back into SolidWorks here, and I'm going to look, I saved it on my desktop as kitchen. Actually I have two kitchens there, I think. Hope it's the right one. Get that out of there. Okay, so there it is. I'm going to green tick that. I'm going to hide that there like so. And what I can do now is I can kind of adjust it. Now make sure perspective is switched on, because as we know, perspective is a more realistic view. And what I can do here is I can kind of mess around with the zooming and the orientation of it to make it look as real as possible. Get it into a decent position here now. I don't know how it's going to look with this area here. So let's say I'm happy with that. Let's see what that looks like. That's actually not too bad. It looks deadly there actually, but well, it's not going to look right anyway with an exploded view. So let me just shut down the explosion and be realistic about it. So I need to go to my configuration, exploded view, collapse. Okay, so this might look good now. So obviously if you're doing a drone or something like that, you could have a kind of an outdoor space, and that looks pretty good. Now I can imagine if that was set to maximum, I'd say that would look pretty cool. I love the way it's taking the apples in the background. Like, this is just a JPEG, but it's doing its job as transparent plastic to kind of ensuring that I'm going to move it over a bit out of the way, the apples there. Just going to try get it to the front. It might be a bit big there, but let's have a look at it. I think that looks really good. I'm actually very, very surprised at that. So what I'll do there is I'll just let it do its thing, 50%. Let it get to 100. Now, as I said, this will look a lot clearer and a lot more realistic if you set your basically the resolution of the quality of the picture to maximum. So I'm just going to let that do its thing there, and I'm actually really happy. I'm very, very surprised that this turned out so well. But it might be something you could do to make your images look a bit more, your photos look a bit more real. So while I'm waiting for that to load, I'll just go back into my thing here, Control C, Control V, and I'm going to call this environment view. Environment view, that'll do. Let me go back here, 98%, right, I'll just give that a save. So I'm going to call that render 3. So once again, the renders don't need to be in the folder because you're going to be just putting them into this one A3 page here. Now that didn't really take, why didn't that work? Let me go back and try that again. I think I might save that as a PNG. Yep, that was my problem. So JPEG, and I'm going to call that OR3 again. The JPEG basically just takes in the object and cuts out all the background, no matter what background you have, so it's not really any use to me. Okay, OR3, drag it in, there we are. Now if you want, you can cut off some of that there. Some of the stuff you don't need. Try not to distort the picture. Okay, I think that looks really, really well. I'm just going to shrink it down a bit. And fasten the two of them together. And you can do the normal things like you can rotate them. Things don't just have to be all nice and upright and straight. Now after that, what else could you do? You could do individual parts, like in this one here. I had the beaker view. I've done a zoomed in view of the blade unit there. I've done an underneath view of the vent, things like that. So get creative with it. Zoom in on things, make things, you know, look good. I'm going to try the propeller. Where is my propeller drawing? It's not opening there. No, I don't want that. Let me close that. Spotify, nope. Oh, it's after crashing there. So anyway, so I will just open that SolidWorks thing again. Just give me a second while it loads up. So what I'll do now is I'll do the propeller, and I'll show you how you can mess with the lighting and the backgrounds and stuff like that. Play around with the backgrounds. Like this was Warm Kitchen or something like that. I can't remember the name of it. There's loads of different ones there that look decent. Now this is only worth, as I said, what was it, 7%, 4%. So don't spend a huge amount of time on this. No more than a couple of hours. You're going to do this in school, maybe after school. Just get, and you're going to do this for Output 9 as well, by the way. Yeah, the DCG's videos there if you need it as well. So that's my environment. So just still waiting for my SolidWorks to open up again. And I'm going to go with the propeller, and I'll just show you how you can mess with lights and stuff like that. Like, why would you mess with lights? Well, for example, last year doing the mouse, we a lot of them had unique curvature, you know, finger grooves and stuff like that, ergonomic things. So we needed the light to kind of hit them grooves in such a way that it really communicated them. So we'll just do a bit of lighting here. So anyway, let me just go to my side profile here. So we'll go with a scene. I'm going to pick a different scene now, a studio scene. What have we got? I'll go with factory floor. Excuse me. Okay, factory floor. So how do we mess with the lights? Well, if we come over here, you can see this is our scenes, and we have factory floor there set. What I can do is edit scene. I'm not going to mess with that. Make sure floor shadows and floor reflections are on. Leave them on. What I'll do is I'll mess with the lights. That's probably the best thing to do. Now you have two lights automatically set here, and it's currently off in your SolidWorks program, or you can turn it on. So it's at the moment, no, it is on. See, it is on now at the moment. So both of them are on, but you can turn them off in SolidWorks. See the way it's all dark? It's good to, obviously, to keep them switched on in SolidWorks. So I can edit, we'll say that light there. So if I right click on it and go to edit all lights, I think it basically brings in the two lights there. And what you can do is you can change the angle of them. So this one here is capturing the full face of that blade, and I might want, depends on what way you want to do it really. this one here is lighting up the cylinder. This one here, like maybe you want to do that. Okay, so it just changes the lights. I think you can add lights as well. Add a directional light. Let's see how that works. So there's a new one there. So I have 3 lights on it now. If you really want to illuminate it, so that one's really. So now I have 3 of them, 3 lights. They're all on in SolidWorks. I can switch them off if I want. So I go into my SolidWorks add-ins, PhotoView 360, and even that background that I put on there, the scene will look decent enough. So options, I'll just keep them. Good, yeah, grand. I'll go to the final render one, turn on perspective. Now your final render will take a lot longer, but the advantages over the final render is you'll get a slightly better image. I think at this stage though, just go with the preview one. The preview image, set the preview image though to a good resolution. So this is you've probably seen this before already. It's going to scan the screen. It's going to take a while to do it there. But I think at this stage the preview window one might be sufficient. If you just set the quality to, you know, maximum or the one below maximum, you'll get pretty good images out of it. So we really need to get this out of the way as soon as possible. So I'm just going to abort out of this here. So you know the crack here at the end, save image, JPEG, etc, etc. Okay, it takes its time. So I'm going to abort that. Do I want to abort that? Yes, I do. So I'm going to let that close down, and I'm going to just do my preview image. So my computer is fairly slow tonight now, and it's after crashing again. Great, that's brilliant. Okay, so they're the things you can do. As I said, if you want to put the table in, like this one here, and even put a decal on the table of the leave insert. Sorry, you can't see what I'm looking at there. Yeah, here's the wooden table. Here's the decal of an image of a newspaper. This is the student assignment. I think it looks really, really well. Like, these were renders that I didn't do. You can see I've done a bit with the lighting to kind of capture the finger groove curves and stuff like that. But they were just basic renders at the end of the day. I was really happy with them. I had an office scene. You can see in the reflection there. I think this was something to do with an office. So that's still crashed. So I'm going to have to Control Alt delete that now. Just give me a second. Task Manager. If that ever happens and you can't close it down, Control Alt delete. Even my Task Manager is struggling now. Where is it? Services, processes. So my SolidWorks crashed. I want to end that task, and now it's gone. I'll just open it again there. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so this is an office scene. You can see there's reflections with the plastic, high gloss plastic, takes in them reflections really well. You know, it looks real. I showed this image to, I think, you guys at some stage, and I asked you to tell me which did you think was real. I think I took out this message here. I think I deleted that. I asked you which one was real, and some people said that was real and that was real. But you know, that's what the photorealistic imaging is all about, getting it as real as possible. Now I'm just going to open my propeller again. And I'm going to go with my the background that I had. Scenes, basic scenes. I can't remember which one it was. I think it was this one, ambient white, was it? I'll go with that anyway. And I will go over here, mess with the lights again. I'll add a third light in, add a directional light. So, you know, if you have too many lights on it, it's just going to make it look really, really bright. So maybe that's not a good thing. Let's just see what happens if I edit this light here. We'll go with that, okay. PhotoView 360. So if you have any questions about all of this, just let me know. Just one page, that's all we need. Try not to copy what I'm doing. Oh, I forgot the old Photo 360 was still open there. I'm just going to close that. It's been a disaster. So apologies about this here. It's always good to have an exploded view, as I said. Another possible view that would be good, let's say some of you guys have folding arms, like I know Rory has and Zenon has. A lot of people have arms that fold inwards. Try get a photo view 360 photorealistic image, of the arms folded in, the arms folded out. I think that would look really, really well. Render tools. Okay, so we go preview window here, turn perspective on. So yeah, any parts that move, try get them, aside from the propeller, of course. The arms though would be the perfect example. Try get them in different orientations to show how it all opens up. Right, so there you go. You can see it's very, very bright the way the light is on it there. So what I might do there is I might turn off that, I might delete that third directional light, and we'll have a look at it. Okay, so there's a lot of light coming down on top of that there, so I might just play around with the lights there. So on, I want to turn them on in Photo View 360. Actually, make sure that that's, yeah. Okay, so they're on. Let me just mess around with this here. So edit all lights. You can do them individually or whatever. Let's see what it looks like now. It's not great actually, but it is high gloss plastic, so I'm going to turn off one of them, see what effect it has. So, or even delete it. No, I don't have to delete it. So off. And Photo View 360. It's not much difference there, to be honest, with it. So I'm just going to change the angle, have a look at it. But listen, as I said, mess around with the lights yourself, get something that you're happy with. As long as it looks real and it looks presentable, you know, just get it down on the page and just present it as well as possible. Listen, I'll leave it at that there because my computer's not working too well.